Now, people came to me and said that it's a lore thing, that it fits with Cyberpunk. Okay. You're not wrong. However, that's not what CD Projekt Red said. CD Projekt Red did not say, in theme with Cyberpunk. That's not what they said. They said, we want the game to be as inclusive as possible, so we made these changes. I just said it was a thing that they're doing, and that if they're doing it to pander, it's stupid, and that some people will not like it. And according to 14,000 upvotes, some people didn't like it. Okay? Some people will choose to not buy the game because of this. That's their right. I'm going to guess the group of people that choose to not buy the game over this will be larger than the tiny microscopic amount of people that you say will feel included by it. In this respect, the team has reworked, meaning it was one way and now it isn't, Cyberpunk 2077's character creator and removed the binary gender options. I'm not making this up. The quote reads, you know, we really want to make the video game that's really inclusive. For instance, you don't choose gender anymore. You don't choose, I want to be female or male. You choose a body type because we want you to feel free to create any character you want. Where in that statement does Martha say, because this fits with Cyberpunk lore? At no point does she ever reference, we felt like this was a fit for the game because of the Cyberpunk roots.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
So this is Louis, and for right now, I thought I would talk about a particular topic that is more complicated than it would seem. And the reason being that there is a lot going on. This is a video that I planned on doing for quite a while, but I never wound up doing because of complications with this month. I had planned to do a video, and the video was going to be called Cash Rules Everything Around Me, and that's a song by the Wu-Tang Clan. That's the reference. But it's basically a scripted version of the follow-up to Just Sell Me Your Game, which is a phrase, a saying that I want to say that I coined. And if not, I'm coining it. The principle of Just Sell Me Your Game is all you need to do is focus on making a good game. That's all you need to do. Everything else is a distant second. All you need to do is make a good game, and someone like me, the prospective and ideal buyer, is willing to give your game a chance. Now, that doesn't guarantee you that I'm going to buy your game, but it does mean that I am going to give it a chance, and I am the number one person to seek, because I am someone that spends more money on video games than anything else that would be a hobby, like going to the movies or bowling or golf or whatever. My hobby is still, to my own detriment, gaming. I spend more money than the average person on video games. I am your target audience. If you look at who are the whales in gaming, in America at least, I can't speak for Poland, maybe. Poland is an incredibly diverse place, I wouldn't know, but in terms of the United States, the majority of the people buying your games are nerdy, pudgy, white men. Those are the people buying your games predominantly. It's not all. You can have some bros that play mainly COD games that be willing to give your game a chance because it's an FPS. But if you look at the hard statistics for who is playing your video games or who would be more likely to play your game, it is not transvestites. It is not transsexuals. It is not Tumblrites. They don't play FPSs. They don't play games generally. And in large part, those people do not have a lot of money to spend. Gaming is typically not their hobby, and if it is, this isn't the game they're going to play. I can tell you that based off of a lifetime of playing these games, meeting people who play these games, knowing the statistics around these games, and having developers that are ideologically motivated run the numbers themselves and realize, oh wow, when you're dealing with very masculine style games, in which this is no different, this is sci-fi shooter role-playing game. Like, for crying out loud, who do you think is going to be playing this game? Well, let me think of who played Mass Effect. Men. That is who is going to play this game. Men. Men probably right around my age, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, but people that look predominantly like me, that are like me, that spend their money in the same way that I do. They're the ones going to be playing this fucking game. The principle of just sell me your game is just sell me your fucking game. I am the fucking customer, not these Tumblr idiots. So the issue here is that for Cyberpunk 2077, this is strike 3. This is strike 3 in you not listening. You doing whatever the fuck you please, posting nonsense on fucking Polygon, pandering to ideologues. And there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it now. This is so very specific, so easy to demonstrate that we will get to it. The fact that this is demonstrable, that is who you are catering to, that it is inescapable and undeniable to that effect. This is strike 3. And my response to this is they just, not long ago, put up a book of concept art that they were going to sell a little bit after is when it was going to be released, the release of the game. They put this on Amazon. I had pre-ordered that because I like pre-ordering and buying concept art books for many different games. I own a whole slew that are on the bookshelf behind me for a whole bunch of games. Even ones that I don't think are fantastic. I still occasionally buy those books because I like to look at the concept art. I like to look at the art and look at the changes that were made during development and understand the concepts that were created by artists. I appreciate what artists design. This is the issue. I felt that I had no choice but to cancel my order for that book. The reason being to make it very clear to you that I am dissatisfied by what you are doing. There is no other way for me to express to you that I am dissatisfied outside of showing you with my wallet that I am not satisfied by your conduct. The reason why I decided to talk about this today, specifically, was very likely due to Jeremy from the Quartering covering this yesterday as of the recording. Angry Joe talked about this. Angry Joe brought this up. Angry Joe asked a question that even, I said it tongue-in-cheek, but I mean it. And there's people responding to him saying, bro, be careful, you might be about to be canceled. You might be about to be swarmed by fucking SJWs for simply asking this question. And it appears on Joe's part to be a legitimate confusion. It appears to me that he is not being insincere. He's asking a sincere question. He is confused by what he has read. And the reality is that it's not difficult to be confused about what is going on here. What isn't confusing, what is definite, is that this is pandering. This is pandering. And just like Joe recognized with Battlefield 5 that it was, in his words, historical revisionism for the purposes of pushing a political agenda, it's the same thing here. And I have a video that I've yet to release screaming about that. Who's to say that it won't come out in the near future, depending on when I can actually get around to finishing that edit. But this is the same thing, Joe. This is the exact same fucking thing. And what we're going to do is go through the entire breadth of this. There is a certain amount of depth to this, and it's going to take me a little bit to get through all of it. I'm going to try to make this as concise as possible, but let's start with what I planned to do originally. Okay, let's roll things back to this poll. So this poll was where all of this started, at least with me. I asked you, the audience, and by the way, what they did is not what actually I even asked the question of. They've actually gone far beyond this question. But let's start with this. Should Cyberpunk 2077 implement transgenderism? The majority of you, by a large margin, by half, 50% of people said yes, so long as it reflects the authoritative lore. We'll get to what cyberpsychosis is in a second. But half of you were willing to have this included in the game. But the context, the specific request was that it reflects the lore. 50% of people. And how many people responded to this again? I'm going to total this up really quick because this may be the largest poll I've ever run. I had a lot of people responding to this. So let's see. 744. This is nearly a scientific poll. If you were to create a data set, this would almost be scientific. 1,000 would be scientific. And this got tweeted around, I saw. So this isn't just my audience. This is more than one audience. And it's not biased, in my view, as a result of that. This appears to be a general reflection of people's feelings on the matter. And I would wager that most of the people that voted in this are considering buying this game. It's not just that they're a gamer, that they are considering buying this game. Half the people that responded said yes, in context to the lore. Second, 35% of the people who voted said no, the demand is political. And in my view, based on what has happened, that is in fact the reality of the situation. This is political pandering. And what we have gotten in direct result of the political pandering is something that is in fact political. They have thrust politics into this game. They have changed their game, and they say as much. They've changed their game to reflect the politics of Tumblr. And I am not exaggerating. And the minority here were unsure, and yes, more content is good, which was 8%, 66 votes. So I would say those were fringe opinions at this point of being unsure and saying yes generally. The majority is yes in context and no, the demand is political. So let us deal with the definition of cyberpsychosis. I have an article here from someone who's transgender who wrote this for Kotaku in dealing with the lore. So Cyberpunk 2020, the second edition by Mike Pondsmith, who is the source of this game. He is the writer for this game. According to him, when you change your gender or you configure your gender in some custom capacity outside of how you are born, it increases cyberpsychosis, or it creates the condition that you are more likely to succumb to cyberpsychosis, where after enough body augmentation you go crazy. That's an aspect to the game. Part of this game is cyberpsychosis. And I believe cyberpsychosis is, in fact, implemented in the game. Based on the original demo, they showcase a humanity cost to modifying yourself. There is a limitation. The limitation is going insane because of cyberpsychosis. Changing your gender is part of that. That is built into the lore within the second edition of Cyberpunk 2020, which is the most recent edition of the book, as far as I'm aware. Mike Pondsmith is currently working on Cyberpunk Red, which is supposed to take place between 2020 and 2077, but that isn't out yet. However, the question is, what is the current lore? And as of now, this is the current lore. If you modify your gender, if you are modifying your body, it adds to cyberpsychosis. It takes away from your quote-unquote humanity. This is built into the fucking lore. It was simply male, female. You can change your gender, male, female. You could be quote-unquote transgender, but the fact is that this is still binary, specifically. And if we want to talk about what can be done, what is cyberpunk? This is cyberpunk. Read the fucking lore book. Read what is written by the person that created the entire goddamn thing. If you want to create something that is different from this, go create it elsewhere. This is what I can't stand about the modern age, is disregarding, in a nerdy, male-dominated fucking hobby, guys like me take the lore seriously. We care about what the lore is. We care about what the rules are. When you are a fucking SJW Tumblrite, you don't care. You don't care about this. You don't care about the rules. You don't care about the lore. You don't care about anything other than your own narcissism and everything reflecting yourself. What drives me absolutely up a wall, and why I say this is a third strike, is that this is indefensible. You are creating something that is not respectful towards not only the intellect of those that are your prospective buyers, in which we can read the fucking lore. A leftist SJW tranny on Kotaku is laying out what the fucking lore is. Even she is honest enough to lay out what the fucking lore is. When you are the fucking studio, why aren't you following it? You show a clear disregard for not only Mike Pondsmith's vision of the fucking game, but your audience's ability to actually read the fucking source. The mistake was Mike Pondsmith wrote this shit down. This isn't hard and fast, make it up as you go. No, there's fucking rules. And they either matter or they don't. And when you don't fucking respect them, you are disregarding that source, you're disregarding those rules, that material, and the ability for your audience to understand what this game is. This is bigger than simple gender choice. It's whether you're actually respectful towards something that isn't yours. You may be making the fucking game, but this isn't your goddamn material. You had every goddamn opportunity to talk to this fucking guy who wrote this. But no, you make a sudden change. You make a sudden, politically motivated change to an audience that is not going to buy this fucking thing to avoid fucking criticism from mentally ill people and political ideologues. Rather than listening to your fucking audience, you listen to those people. This is utterly reprehensible. I don't want to hear you deflect, minimize, or not address this, because you seem more than willing to go to Kotaku, to go to fucking Metro, to go to fucking Polygon, and just fucking get down and bend a knee to talk about this shit. But for your own fucking audience, you don't have the time of day. We're the ones buying the fucking game. You know, I have been around since The Witcher 1. And for whatever fucking reason, you beta male pussies in Poland simply cannot listen. You cannot listen to your audience when they fucking tell you, just sell me the game. Stop making this about politics in the modern day in the United States on the West Coast, in fucking Portland, in fucking San Francisco. Stop making it about that. And if you do, there are rules on the books for how you do it, and you disregard it. This is how we know it's political. This is how we know why you're doing it and what your intentions are with it. It is absent any respect to the guy that created this universe that you are taking advantage of for your own direct benefit. Let's not forget that you are very likely to make billions from this game. Okay, the hype around this game is like nothing else for next year. Nothing else comes close. And yet you are ruining your fucking reputation. You are destroying the hype around this game by doing shit like this. So let us get to my script, because we're eventually going to get to the actual article that talks about this. What has been done, what's been changed, but this started in mid-June, I believe it was, where this was brought up based on this ad. I'll show it really quickly. This ad in the game is what really kicked this off. So we go from mid-June to the end of August, and these changes have not only been made, but implemented. The changes are done. They're in the game. They're going to be in the final product as far as we're aware. That is radical change. That is like priority status. Oh my God, we got to change this now. It is ridiculous to me that you go from talking about this in June to having it finished, completed, implemented by fucking August. That is ridiculous. When people interview you, you're like, no, this is still up in the air, that's still up in the air, we don't know how we're going to implement this, we don't know how we're going to implement that, but don't worry, the gender shit in Character Creator, bing bam boom, it's fucking done. We've implemented exactly what Tumblr wants. Within a time span of not even fucking 2 months. Going from talking about the concept to implementing it. Ridiculous. And again, shows you the priorities. Shows you what is fast-tracked to be completed. For a game where, again, even now, shit is still conceptual for how it's going to be implemented in the final version. So, here is my script from what was going to be the scripted video for this month. And I know how it's going to sound, but again, I'm reading from a script. So this is Louis, and for today I'm going to make good on what I said last month in responding to this poll that I conducted in which over 700 people voted on your reaction to CD Projekt Red's decision to pander to gender politics in Cyberpunk 2077. I actually said Cyberpink 2077. Now, I already know that the professional fence straddlers will argue, well, who cares, Louis, who cares? There is no culture war, there is no opposition making demands, and you and your audience are idiots for caring. However, the problem for these people is if there is no ongoing culture war, who exactly is Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk, speaking to when demands are made telling him how to design his work? Because it isn't me. It isn't anyone that follows me or that I follow. So then who is it? One of the things that I'll never understand from the popular faces that grew their channels mocking the people they now flack for is the level of dishonesty they will sink to in denying that SJWs exist and have serious clout in the Western gaming industry. I saw a tweet the other day with something like 200,000 likes that said, "Not everything has to be gay," in response to speculation that Spider-Man was going to be made gay for the sake of virtue signaling. What I'll never understand is that the same people saying this now were deriding people like me as obsessive, bigoted losers in 2014, 2015, 2016, etc. Suddenly we're approaching the point of exhaustion when absolutely nothing has changed. This has been the status quo for approaching a decade now, and it has always been cringe-inducing, ramrodded virtue signaling. So when we're talking about Cyberpunk 2077, nothing here is different. Nothing is new or outside what has been mainstream for around a decade. I want to make that perfectly clear because for whatever reason, a lot of people, and we're talking seemingly upwards of millions across the West, are really indecisive about what is inappropriate virtue signaling and what I should shut the fuck up about because, lol, why not, you basement-dwelling incel? I'm not asking you to stop being a gaggle of hypocrites, but could you at least stop claiming that persons such as myself are guilty of something that you also partake in? I get it. You want to protect what you like, and I can go fuck myself. But at the very minimum, let's stop pretending like the right side in the culture war is guilty of something that seemingly everyone is engaging in. Somebody ramrods something into a piece of fiction I don't like, and so I critique it. That's all I and we are doing. You're no different when you choose to do it. I may talk about it more, but that could be because it's happening more often with content I enjoy. The reason I say all this is because it is still incredibly common to badmouth those on the right side of the culture war. And I'm not going to play the video that coincides with this because it's the clip from a protest where a white Antifa member called a cop a nigger. You've seen it before, and if you haven't, it doesn't really matter, but I'll read this anyways. "Oh, it's wrong to tell an artist and visionary like Mike Pondsmith what to do with his work. How is this different than any other time with any other property? You think this is the first time a white leftist has ordered around a black man before? You haven't been paying attention." With that out of the way, I'll set this up for you. After releasing the highly successful and highly acclaimed Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red has become an important developer in the industry. While everyone else is churning out carbon copy sequels, CD Projekt Red has taken a relatively obscure tabletop RPG and is attempting to bring it to real life. Stakes are high, expectations are high. The hype after Keanu Reeves showing up at E3 is reaching proportions unseen anywhere else in the industry. and yet unfair criticism and petty demands from the gaming journos is prominent. It has been since the 40-minute demo footage was aired last year at Gamescom. There has been a seemingly immeasurable deluge of articles making demands of CD Projekt Red to give fair representation to the suicide rate in Cyberpunk 2077. And what do I think the primary motive is behind these demands? And this is where I play Cream by a Wu-Tang Clan.
Cream, get the money, dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar bill, yo.
That's right, I think this is about money. I think the journos believe that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be the one to dethrone the king of the industry since 2013. Since 2013, no other game has made as much goddamn money and has been such a phenomenal success as Grand Theft Auto 5 has been and continues to be. Now, that doesn't mean Cyberpunk 2077 will outsell Grand Theft Auto 5 or make more money than it, because while I know that's impossible because of GTA Online, I think these people think otherwise. Back in the day, the journos attacked GTA 5 too, and while I may have originally attributed that to ideological bias, it absolutely was about the money. All of these Fifth Estate leftist blogs are collapsing at the moment, and nothing pays like rage clicks. For some of these blogs, they also have the motivation to attack the competitor of their owners or investors. For a better understanding of that, I would recommend this video on the topic, which I will link in the description, and I will link that right now. Go watch it if you want to. That said, let's address the poll and the concern about Cyberpunk 2077. At least one or two developers at CD Projekt Red have addressed and loosely promised to incorporate gender options beyond that of male and female within the character creation function of the game. This is weird to promise because every time they speak about aspects of the game or show footage, they incessantly promote the idea that practically everything is subject to change. I know that sounds hyperbolic, but go listen to the interviews they gave at E3 and how unsure they are about the final version of the game, which is slightly concerning to me considering the game has a hard launch date of April 2020. No offense, but maybe you want to nail down what features are going to be in your game that comes out less than a year from now. Now, from what we know, the gender options that have been promised are body type and voice. Whether you have a wang or not hasn't been addressed as far as I can tell. Give me a crack at interviewing one of these Polacks and I'll just ask the damn question. Can V be a chick with a dick? Based on the game adverts, these pussy willows know what I'm talking about, but nobody has asked the question. The question I ask you, on the other hand, is, do you as customers actually want this in the game? And I stop there, but this is where I introduce the poll and go on from there. But getting back to the commentary that's actually live, so to say, rather than the one I scripted out, let's get to the actual discussion at hand here, which is the articles that are being discussed right now. So while Polygon, Kotaku, even One Angry Gamer have been talking about this, the exclusive interview went to Metro.uk. They actually got to talk to Cyberpunk devs about this. So let's delve into this article, and I'll let you be the judge of whether this is a problem or not. Author asks, traditional science fiction tends to be strangely sexless, and yet we see in the real world that that's the first thing people think of when new technology emerges. But CD Projekt keep getting themselves in trouble with portrayal of gender and trans issues. Have you changed your approach to deal with those sort of things in the last year or so? And again, this has been a non-stop criticism by the press of them. It's not been organic, it's been by the press. The Jonker says, we really want to make a video game that's really inclusive. The author says, I've spoken to a number of your devs now, and it's obvious to me that you're trying to do the right thing, but it's such a difficult subject. Jonker says, of course, if you tackle certain subjects, then you will expect people to have an opinion about it, and we respect that. And it's good that people give us feedback. And our character creation menu, for instance, compared to the last demo, we now give you so many more options. For instance, you don't choose your gender anymore. You don't choose, I want to be female or male character. You now choose body type because we want you to feel free to create any character you want. So you choose your body type, and we have two voices. One's male sounding and one is female sounding. You can mix and match. You can just connect them anywhere you want. And then we have a lot of extra skin tones and tattoos and hairstyles. So we really want to give people the freedom to make their own character and play the way they want to play. The author asked, have you specifically sought out a wider range of people to consult on the game since all these controversies started flaring up by the press? Junkers says, our team is very international and very diverse, but we have asked for a lot of feedback. We've always asked for feedback, even when we go show these demos. We still ask that people tell us what they think. This is my thing. It's like, you don't give a fuck about what I think. You give a fuck about what this douchebag faggot thinks. You don't care about what I think. They're going to get a review copy. They're getting this either way. I'm the one that's going to be opening their wallet to buy it. Why don't you care what I think? Jonkers. Should I tweet this at fucking CD Projekt Red? Why don't you care what I think? Maybe I'll change the name of the fucking video to that. It'll be similar in that way to just sell me your game. It will be, why don't you care what I think? You care, am I not diverse enough? Is that the problem? Am I not enough of a fringe minority incapable of playing or giving a shit about your game? Is that the problem here? We just want to know what we can improve on because we want to make a really good game and we really want to make a game that everyone is comfortable playing. But at the same time, we'll tackle difficult issues. It is a cyberpunk world, after all. Well, this is my thing. You want to show your game as gritty, and I'm going to show the trailer here. You want your game to be gritty. You want your game to be so fucking, serious. And yet, at the same time, you're pandering to people on Tumblr that draw fucking fan art of female characters having kids. This is the audience that you're pandering to. And it's the problem is that, like I say, the bro that is screaming into his microphone, the guy that plays Call of Duty, the guy that plays FPS, this is your audience. Like it or not, you fucking Polacks, like it or not. Maybe you specifically, as a bunch of fucking beta males in another country, idealize in your own minds that you want your audience to be a bunch of fucking degenerates from Portland or San Francisco or wherever else. But the reality is that more likely than not, the guy playing your game is a working class white male. And that's not even including the black males or the Hispanic males that are minorities, that are also bros, that are also playing Call of Duty and the rest of it. Again, your game is a fucking FPS. But with an FPS sci-fi game, it will be above 90%. Just going off the statistics that I know already, it will be above 90% men playing your fucking game. God damn, dude. Fuck. It's like I say, I know how it's going to sound when I say that, the industry is just a bunch of beta males, but it's you don't listen to me. You don't care about what I think. You don't care about your own audience, the people actually playing your games. You desperately want your audience to be something that it isn't. You're chasing after an illusion. Your audience is a guy that looks like me, me but wearing more athletic wear more of the time, and black, and Hispanic guy who's nearly the same as me as well in that respect. It's us. We're the fucking people playing your games. We're the people that are most likely going to be willing to purchase your games. Why don't you care about us? Why do you disregard us so much? Why do you just take us for granted? Why? What is it about you specifically? What is it? Because it isn't us. I can't change who I am. The black guy who's like me, I can't change him either. The straight Hispanic guy that's going to play this game, I can't change him either. Why do you disregard us? Why do you not think that we're worth listening to? Why? overwhelmingly, the people that are going to play this game are going to be installing it, picking a male character, playing the game, finishing it, maybe. Going off of the Mass Effect statistics, there's probably going to be a good chance that the majority of people that buy and play this game don't finish it, as it was with Mass Effect. With RPGs that are longer than 10 hours, you have a very high chance of there being a minority that finishes the fucking game. That's just the industry. That's just the genre. But when you add on top of it that it's, like I say, it's an FPS. It's inescapable. Your audience is not going to be those playing the fucking Sims. It's going to be men that play fucking Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption 2, Mass Effect when it was not shit, and anything else that's like a fucking shooter. This is not a fucking experiment anymore. We know who plays video games. We know who play specific genres. Even specific games. They can break down using the data who is playing their games, who's buying it, and what they're fucking playing when they have the choice between what kind of character they create. The data exists, it's been compiled, it's been analyzed, and it's been shown who plays this shit. Are there sexual and self-identity issues something that you tackle directly through the missions and story, or are they more just implied by the character creation tools? We do tackle a lot of ... complicated subjects, I'd say, because we wanted to create a very believable cyberpunk world. Cyberpunk 2020 was also a world... See, you have the fucking balls to source the original content. You have the fucking balls to source the second edition. Just unreal. The absolute fucking arrogance of this person at this studio. The sheer arrogance, as though we can't read the material for ourselves. Unreal. And this is what I mean by this being a strike against them. It really is. It really is a strike against them. Cyberpunk 2020 was also a world that had a very dark side, and we are also showing this in Cyberpunk 2077, but we paint a picture and we let the player interpret it. We leave it up to the player to see what they think of the situations and how they would handle it. So we're trying to create a sort of realistic world. We're trying to not shy away from the cyberpunk themes, but at the same time, we're giving the freedom to the player to approach the situations how they want to. So the author says, but everyone keeps saying how one of the key themes in the game is the loss of humanity, but I'm not sure how you're getting that across in the game, since obviously playing a video game is very different to the artificial experience in itself. I know, but that's the magic of role-playing, because we're really trying to make you feel like the character, and we're really putting in the effort into character creation. And we also have this fluid class system, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. None of this. So they continue on, and they reference the issue of losing humanity. So this, as far as we can tell, this is in the game. This is... The aspect that is in the lore, that's in the last source book, this is in the game. And so the big question is, has been brought up by a tranny at Kotaku who's a leftist, are you actually going to keep this consistent with the lore? Are you actually going to factor this into the fucking game? Are you actually going to respect Mike Pondsmith's vision? This is his game. This is his material. He wrote this. Are you going to respect that? Or are you going to pander to a micro percentage of the world's population that has a fucking suicide rate of 40%? Are you going to pander to them instead? The people that aren't going to buy your fucking game. Or just, even if it's not even them, it's like, oh, well, we're going to pander to women. It's like, yeah, women aren't going to play your fucking game either. They're going to be the 10%. Realistically speaking, 10-15% max. And I'd be willing to put money on that fact. Show me the data. You let me know who's buying the game, and we'll see. Because I'd be willing to put hard money on the fact that it's going to be at most 15% women playing this fucking game. And whatever, less than fucking 1% that are anything other than men or women. Because that's what they're reflected in the fucking, in society at large. You know what I mean? And regardless of which one we're talking about. Anything other than male, female, it is a micro percentage. It is far less than 1% that we're talking about. But I guess I'm going to leave it there. I apologize for not being around, for not uploading content, for taking so long to get to this, really. But the fact is that I'm saying right here and now that I'm not saying to boycott this game. I'm not saying to not buy this game. But I am saying to not pre-order this game. Do not pre-order it. Because I have not and I will not pre-order it at this point. It's about fucking time that the devs at CD Projekt Red get down on their knees and apologize to me. Men like me that are in fact their audience. Not the audience they may want, but still their audience. Apologize to me. Pander to me. Cater to me. Your fucking audience. We're the ones that are going to buy this goddamn game. And at this point, because of the track that you are on, because of the way that you have gone about this, because you can continue to pander to leftist journos, to fucking Tumblrites, and to people that do not give a goddamn about your game and won't play it, because you continue to pander to them, I'm not going to pander to you, and I'm not going to, as of now, I'm not pre-ordering your game. There's no guarantee that I'm going to buy it, because I swear to fucking God, you keep this up, and I'm going to say it right now, I'm pirating it. And you can go fuck yourselves. You might say, well, we're not putting microtransactions in and we love our audience. Well, it's not good enough when it comes to microtransactions. Stop pandering to leftists. Stop pandering to fucking gender ideologues. Stop pandering to insincere rage bait journos. Stop doing this. Because I'm just saying that you haven't stopped. You've been continuously doing this for months and months and months and months. You keep doing this. You've been consistent in doing this. And I'm simply saying, once again, stop. Listen to me. Listen to the person that wants to buy your game but is incapable because of what you're doing. Because of your conduct. Because of you pushing this garbage, implementing it into your game a month and a half after it was demanded. A month and a half after you start talking about this at journo insistence, you fucking implemented it. This is obscene. And I demand some kind of explanation. I demand it. But I will leave it there for now. The demo comes out in 2 days, and way to fucking ruin the hype. Way to ruin the fact that I want to see it. Way to ruin that for me. Congratulations on the consistent manner in which you find a way to take away my admiration for what you're trying to create. You have been consistent in finding a way to take away from that. You give me a reason to not like what you're doing with this. You give me a reason to not buy your game. You find a fucking way. I don't know how you do it. It's pretty amazing to me. Maybe you should write a book on that. Once you complete how we manage to unsell members of our own audience from buying this game, despite being long-term fans. You found a way. Beyond anyone's fucking imagination, you did it. You've managed. It's incredible. And I think that we are due an explanation. And until such a time that we are given a full-throated explanation to what exactly is being done and why. Just why not that? How about why? How about why? Did you poll your audience? Did you poll the people that pre-ordered? Where did you get this insight from to change this game in this way? Where did you get that from? Was it just the journos? Then why not say that? Because they don't speak for us. They only speak for themselves, their own little clique. But whatever. You fucking people, man. I'll just leave it there. Thanks for listening.